Hello folks, welcome back to another episode of Villains and Vice, subtitled Vacation Mike Takes the Throne. Back here in Florida, and I swear every time I talk to you guys, I've really had a day. Today's no different. Got down to Florida, and first thing I do is have like this hour-long conversation with this agent about disability insurance. I know nothing about it. It's confusing. So after that was over, I then had to go to the Social Security office and stand in line there for 2 hours in the July Orlando heat. Unrelated to disability, but just for the fact that one of the states that I do my job for, they didn't like that my original card, my 40-year-old Social Security card that I've had since birth, had a crease in the middle. And that crease seemed to blur the middle two numbers. Just a little bit. You could still make out what they are, but anyway. They're demanding that before they re-credential me, they get a brand new card so they can make sure those two numbers match. I've read for the state for 5 years. Why do they care now? No idea. So yep, stood in that line for 2 hours. All to be told at the end that I could just fill out an application and submit it to them in person, but they won't actually give me a card. I have to wait 10 to 14 days in the mail for that. So once I became a little less irate about that little instance, I then came home and was going to meet the AC repair guy, because the AC here at the condo is on the fritz. Just doesn't seem to really keep up like it used to. And fortunately, that's been the best experience all day. I mean, he was super nice. Pumped a little more Freon in the system. I don't know a lot about AC units or what they do, but I know you need Freon and that leaks are bad. We might have a leak, but it might be a slow leak to where we just have to put Freon in it every couple years. We don't know. Anyway, he was delightful. We'll put his name and number on there because if you're in the Central Florida region and you have an AC problem, give this guy a call. He was phenomenal. All that aside, all my complaining. I'm not really a complainer, but when I get this little camera in front of me, I just go to town. Now the fun begins. My first thought was that two things. One, I thought I could finish up Florida Flavors of Florida. We tried that last week. Never really got around to the food section, so that was one option. Option two, Food and Wine started just a couple of days ago, so I thought about sneaking over to Epcot and getting involved with that. But Beth hasn't been to that one yet, and so I feel a little guilty kind of jumping the bone. What does that even mean? Jumping the gun on that one without her here. So, I'm going to save Food and Wine. One thing that actually made my decision much easier is this nonsense. Yep. Every time I come down, it's pouring. Always, always pouring. So with that being said, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere that requires being outside. So, I have a plan B. But before we get to plan B, there was also plan A and a half. I did a little shopping today. Who knew? Let's see what we got. Alright, so after the Social Security office, need a little bit of a stress reliever. And if you recall, we did a video maybe a year ago. Beth can link it. It's there. Wherever YouTube puts videos, I don't know. There was a time we went to the outlets, the Vineland Outlets just down the street here from us. We went to Tommy Bahama, got a couple nice shirts that I deem park shirts, but I mean, let's be real, they're kind of fancy shirts. They're not something that you would want to get messy, and if it did get messy, it'd get a little pricey to replace. So I've sort of been low on the lookout for something that you can wear in the park that's super light, super airy, kind of lets the circulation through, lets things breathe, and also doesn't break the bank. So some of you may be familiar with these. I've seen other gentlemen wear them, probably some ladies too, I don't know. But this place I stopped today was Columbia, and they have this, I think it's called PFG, Professional Fishing Gear. I'm not a fisherman myself, never been deep sea fishing, I fished in a lake or river, but it's been probably decades since I last did that. But anyway, you know, it's got the SPF stuff on it somehow. But the really cool thing is it's got this little vent in the back. And so you get a lot of breathing in that little area. And my mother-in-law, Deb, she had found one for me, I don't know, maybe Christmas or 2 ago, and wore it down here and loved it. It was great. You know, I didn't sweat through or anything like that. So I was like, this is something I want to find more of. And so again, I'm driving home to the security office, and I see the outlets, and I see a Columbia sign. I'm like, you know what? You deserve this. Nate knows what I'm talking about. Let's see what we got. So here's the first offering. Now granted, these, for the most part, aren't terribly designy. There's not a lot of, you know, fun logos, not a lot of Disney theming like you might get with other things. But, you know, I'll put fun logos on my shorts or something. You know, we'll conquer that a different way. But, as I said, here's the little PFG thing, if you can see that. And, if you'll notice, it's got this crazy little vent. You can literally see right through there. And so, the vent and the mesh within the vent, kind of like what you would have swim trunks with, that lets a lot of airflow. I mean, it just kind of does this little flowy thing. And again, I haven't sweat through it even in the summer down here. So, if you've never really checked this type of thing out, and you're looking, if you're a gentleman, want something to kind of wear down here where you want to be a little cooler, check these out. Because another good thing is, these aren't Tommy Bahama prices. Basically, I got 6 shirts today, and looks like my whole receipt here, $202.06. So that would basically be the cost of 1 Tommy Bahama shirt, even at the outlets. Or, I'm sorry, 1.5. So, let's show you what else we got. These managed to get stuck together, so I'm just gonna go nice little yellow. And a little turquoise action. Solid prints, but again, nice little mesh. We got a little turquoise / lime. This is a good little Florida shirt. This just makes me think Florida. If you want to feel like a formal Hawaiian night, it's not linen, but, you know, just a plain white button-up shirt for some of the more formal occasions in a man's life. And lastly, America. America. All right. So I need to change. One thing you'll notice since last time, I have still not gotten a haircut. I mean, look at this. And Beth will also let you know I have not trimmed my beard. She says I have a great Martin Van Buren thing going. We'll link a photo of him if you don't remember that guy. America's sexiest president. And yeah, my sunglasses. I almost use more of a headband as opposed to on my eyes and protecting them. So next time you see me, I promise I'm gonna look a little different, a little more kempt. I'm gonna change clothes, and let's finally go do something fun. Ta-da! Decided to go with a little teal option, but yeah. I feel like I could prop up here and put up the vibe. You know what I'm saying? That's right, ladies. Coming to a Disney restaurant near you. But on a more serious note, one cool thing about this shirt is that, I've never seen this before, but maybe you have. On this bottom area, so it's got this little sunglass thing, and I figured out what this, there's this kind of strange little rectangle material on the underside of the seam, and it's actually for cleaning your glasses. It's genius. You just take your glasses and it's like a little white cloth, get the crap off of them, make it to where you can see. Who thought of these things? But anyway, enough of the fashion show. Let's get out of here. So the Contemporary is not a place where I typically spend a ton of time. However, we used to enjoy the Wave, and the Wave has since waved goodbye and has been replaced by Steakhouse 71, and I've heard some really good things about it from others. So we're here. Well, let me say, I'm here, and I'm going to give it a shot, and hopefully enjoy it so much that I get to rub it in Beth's face. per usual. But let's talk about that meal. So start off with the French onion soup. That stuff was delicious. I mean, I'll warn you, if you're new to French onion soup, it's not what I would consider a good date meal, or a date appetizer, or a date soup, because it gets a little bit messy. This particular one, a lot of times the bowl will be the rim will be kind of encrusted by the cheese, maybe a little bit down the side. This entire bowl was circumference coated in the cheese, which was great. I loved it, and I was like a silly little kid when you get a sunburn when you're little. Don't act like you didn't do it. You peeled your skin when it burned. I was peeling the soup bowl, the cheese off the soup bowl, and it was great. Loved it. But it becomes a big mess. The cheese is all sticky and gooey. It sticks to the spoon. You know how French onion soup goes. But taste-wise, amazing. The beef broth, it's pretty much, it's packed full of onions. It was a good onion soup. And the cheese, of course. Cheese is great on anything, but highly, highly recommend trying that one. Then we had the entree itself. So, start with the prime rib. I don't often get to order steak the way I want to order steak because of, Beth. But I got to order it rare tonight. Beth will okay at medium rare as long as she can kind of pick around the ends where it's a little more done. Ironically, she likes her bacon raw. She's sort of team trichinosis on that one, but when it comes to her red meat, she likes hers a little bit more on she'll go medium, so it's not that bad. But anyway, I like my meat a little bit more rare, and got to enjoy it tonight. For the prime rib, I thought it was great. It was a good protein to fat ratio. With prime ribs, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, I've seen prime ribs that are, 70% fat, 30% muscle. This one wasn't like that. Enjoyed that. Then the macaroni was okay. I mean, it was good, but nothing really stood out about it to me. I enjoyed the little crust they put on it, but they could have done something added a little something. But still a good side. I've heard good things about the potatoes. He did mention that my cast member, he mentioned that he goes back and forth between the macaroni and the potatoes. So you may want to give those a shot just to try them out. We had, with the prime rib, it also came with Yorkshire pudding. So if you're new to Yorkshire pudding, how would I describe it? It's kind of a savory croissant. It's kind of like a hollowed out croissant-ish. And I think it's got a little bit more egg than traditional bread products, pastries, so to speak. But it's very good, very, very good. But if you kind of know what if you're new to Yorkshire pudding, that may not be the first thing you think of as savory pastry, but good stuff. Sauce-wise, so you could pick up to one of 6 sauces that came with your steak. My server recommended the mushroom. He really enjoyed that, so I went with that. He did say that the chef with the prime rib in particular would recommend the horseradish sauce, but I don't mind horseradish on its own, but usually it's a horseradish cream, and by this point I think we know how I feel about creams. So I went the mushroom. I thought it was great. I would like to try more of them. You can do a flight. You can get all 6. I think it's 6. You can do all 6 at once. I think there's a little bit of upcharge for that. But I was by myself. It seems silly to get 6 sauces for one person on one steak, so I didn't go that route. But next time Beth comes, I imagine we'll probably do a flight of sauces and do the whole sampling. But the mushroom sauce was good. It almost seemed less gravy. For example, the color looked a little yellow-orange, almost like there may be like a little mustard in there. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was more of an orange sauce than I was expecting for mushroom sauce. Usually I think mushroom, I think of like a gray tan sort of color. But tasty stuff. I did not do dessert. Well, I didn't do the dessert menu. I had 2 drinks. They were kind of on a similar line. Both were bourbon-based. The Coco Boulevardier, I think was the first one I had. And that was kind of a mixture of Knob Creek, the Disney Select bourbon that they have on the property. It was a combination of that. It had Campari, vermouth, and chocolate bitters. Now, in my perfect world, I guess it would have been more of an old-fashioned. It would have been more of the bourbon, the chocolate bitters. For me personally, there's something about the mixture of Campari and vermouth. It almost reminds me of cough syrup as a kid. kind of has that, that's how it hits me. And so in this particular drink, you had the bourbon, which I like, but it was almost kind of watered down a little bit by the sort of cough syrupy thing. So for what that did for me was it had a less of a burn. So the bourbon it came off a little bit smoother, but it just sort of left you with that sort of characol taste. At least, that's what I get. So, good, but again, I think I'd probably lean more towards just bourbon and bitters and call it a day. So for my second drink, I did the bourbon cold brew. Now, this one, I enjoyed this one a little bit better than I did the first one. When we go to the parks, particularly at breakfast time, Beth often stops at the Joffrey's cart. We're Team Joffrey's compared to Team Starbucks. But she'll stop at the Joffrey's cart, she'll get her an iced coffee, and she'll kick it up with a little something. Usually it's Kahlua, Bailey, something along those lines. And when you taste that, you taste mostly coffee and like a little bit of heat at the end from, whatever alcohol she puts in it. This particular drink was different. This one was still more bourbon forward. And then you kind of get the coffee afterwards. I wouldn't say it was mostly bourbon, a little bit of coffee. It's probably closer to a 50-50 split in terms of what you taste. But I liked it because, I like bourbon, and I wasn't really looking for coffee to end my night. Some people do that. But I did like having the bourbon with like a little bit of coffee on the background thing. So, I would check that one out. I thought it was a good end of night thing. I said I didn't get dessert. That was sort of my dessert. But again, it wasn't terribly sweet like for example, like an iced coffee might be in the morning. It wasn't that type of sweetness. Again, more of a bourbon drink with a little bit of cream and, coffee on the back end. Overall, I really enjoyed this. I liked the Wave back when it was the Wave, but I never did anything other than breakfast there. We would come to the park early, go to the Wave at 7:30 in the morning, have breakfast, and then walk over using the little walkway to Magic Kingdom next door. And so I never really tried lunch or dinner at the Wave, so I don't have a real comparison for what Steakhouse 71 is compared to what it was the Wave. What I've read and what I've heard is that the food has definitely been kicked up a notch from the Wave. So I don't know what the Wave had, but I certainly enjoyed Steakhouse 71. I would try other sauces. I might try a different side. I enjoyed the prime rib. I'm a prime rib guy, so that was fine by me. But they had fillets, they had prime rib, they had I think a bone-in pork chop. So there are other things if you're not a prime rib person. When I go somewhere, that's my signature steak. So I think that's probably going to do it. In the background, you'll see Bay Lake Tower. I want to point out that Beth went there a couple days ago. I was not invited, so if you check out her Villain's Lair video, you will not be seeing Vacation Mike because I was at home working. Boo. Alright, I'm going to see if I can find my way to my car and waddle out of here because I am very, very full. But hope you enjoyed this little break, and keep watching. I checked out Beth's thing. This is Beth's channel, we all know that. I'm just here for sex appeal. I've noticed that she's right on the cusp of 3,000 viewers, or 3,000 subscribers, which, when she started doing this, I thought that was kind of a lofty goal because, we're just sort of having fun with this. This isn't our profession or, means of providing a living for ourselves or anything like that. So she enjoys doing it, and I'm excited to see her keep being successful. I think she enjoys more than anything just the camaraderie, meeting people through this and, watching your all's channels, for those of you who have channels, and if you don't have a channel, just enjoying the comments and, meeting people, talking Disney stuff. It's fun. We all enjoy that kind of thing. So anyway, that's going to do it for Vacation Mike. Till next time, fiber up. Oh dear. Oh my gosh. Falling apart. Brace yourself. Gratuitous crotch shot.